Alrighty, what's up, YouTube audience, fans, followers, and newcomers alike? Welcome, Black Tiger here. Got the patch on the hat today, so my identity of Black Tiger is more clear. Ooh. Alright, so, we're going to talk about this guy today. I don't know what his real name is, because I haven't looked it up, and I don't care. But he goes by the moniker of Sonicfox, and he is a furry, you know, and that's why he goes by Sonicfox, because he wants to be a fox that's blue, even though he's a human being, so, whatever. But anyway, this guy is a gamer, and apparently he's very good at fighting games, so good in fact that he won some tournament or some championship, I don't know which, but he got an award, basically. From the clip that I saw at the award ceremony, I was a little confused about, well, actually, no, I'm thinking of a different person. They gave an award for a content creator to one of these game streamers, but I don't believe that just streaming you playing a game that somebody else made is content creation. Is it enjoyable to watch and funny sometimes? Yeah, but you're not making new original works, so I don't really consider that the same thing. So, either way, this Sonicfox guy, he could have gone on stage and just accepted his award and, you know, left it at that. But no, he had to take it a step further because that's just the world we live in today. Everything is politicized now, no matter what, no matter where, no matter how. So let's take a watch at his speech and let's see what the man has to say and how he interacts on stage with the audience.
As you guys also may know or may not know, I'm also super gay. So I mean, I want to give it a shot.
You're super gay? Okay, good for you. Why do I need to know that?
So I want to give a super shout out to all my LGBTQ plus friends that have always helped me through life. Obviously, I'm a furry, so shout out to the furries. I've been any furries in a year. Yeah. Guess all I gotta really say is that I'm gay, black, a furry, pretty much everything a Republican hates, and the best esports player of the year, I guess. Thank you so much.
And you're a bigot. So, what makes this guy a bigot? The fact that he groups all people, you know, that are calling themselves Republicans as hating gays, hating blacks, hating furries, and that's just factually not true. You know, there are racists out there, obviously, but if you think it's just restricted to one group of people, you're obviously wrong. You know, if you don't think that black people can be racist towards black people or that white people can't be racist towards other white people, they totally can. You ever heard of, you know, Snoop Dogg calling Kanye West an Uncle Tom and stuff like that? So black on black racism is very, very real in this country. In some ways, I would say more so than white on black racism, because when you look at the statistics, it doesn't pan out the notion that, you know, blacks are just being killed en masse by white people or even the police. More whites are shot by the police every year, and more blacks are killed by blacks than any other group every single year. So these people all just have their heads twisted from indoctrination and propaganda, but a lot of people found it really egregious what this guy did here in you know, in this speech, an acceptance speech for an awards ceremony for playing video games. It's just, you know, I don't want to be one of those guys, oh, it's not the time and place. I mean, it's your speech, say what you want, but it was just a very foolish thing to say because of how absolutely untrue it is. So I looked through a bit of the tweets from the Twitter, Mr. Dorsey's playground, whatever you want to call it. The turdy bird. So let's look at some of these tweets here and see what is going down. Alright, so first off, we'll lead with Sonicfox's tweet from Sonicfox 5000 himself. Y'all have literally oppressed me my whole life and the livelihood of me and others, yet I still made it here. It's definitely more than a game. Y'all catching that dunk on a huge platform right quick. LMFAO. Alright, well, Mister, you've been oppressed your whole life. How have you been oppressed your whole life? Can you please explain to us the exact form of oppression that you have had come up against you? Secondly, who is y'all? When you just say y'all without ever putting any context to who that y'all may be, like what group of people the y'all comprises, you're not actually really saying anything. It's like you're just blaming this nebulous group that can't even be identified. That's ridiculous. So, two strikes. Third strike, you're out. Well, okay, third strike. You make tons of money, like, thousands of dollars, maybe even $100,000 per year. I don't know what your actual finances are, but I know you make thousands of dollars playing video games in America. How are you oppressed? You're out of your mind. You're not oppressed, man. Maybe you've had to face various forms of, discrimination and hatred, but hey, guess what? We all do. Every single person comes across discrimination and hatred. Every single person has things they don't like, and every single person has character traits that they don't like when other people exhibit them. So these people are just ridiculous. I can't even believe the things they say to have the audacity to post something so ridiculous as a matter of fact. It's just nuts. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on and see what everyone else had to say in response to his little tweet there. Take a swig of water. Take a swig of water first. Water is better than pop. Drink water. All right, so let's see what this guy Slayton says. Quote, I'm oppressed. He yells from the awards ceremony he's speaking at, leaving the public convention of fetishists he was just at as he collects thousands of dollars for playing video games while sponsored. How are you going to be on top talking about oppression, dude? LOL. I agree. And that is funny when he says, leaving the public convention of fetishists he was just at. That's in reference to the Midwest Fur Fest, or the abbreviation MFF. In case you didn't know, by the video that I posted recently, I went to that. Not as a guest, not as a registered, patron of the event, not as a furry, because I'm not one. I just went there because I had a friend that came into Chicago, and rather than him having to take a $35 or $40 Uber or taxi or Lyft ride, from Union Station to the Rosemont Convention Center, I decided, hey, I can be a friend. I'll give you a lift for $10, Just toss me a little bit of gas money, to cover my parking at the Blue Line lot, and hey, man, that's all cool by me. So that's why I went. I figured I'd check out the madness, as you can't really tell by the badges on my walls because they're on the other side, not in view of the camera. But actually, no, they are. They are right there. Those are my two most recent badges from ASIN, the Anime Central convention that's held at the same place, the Rosemont Convention Center, that's all, folks. The Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. So, yeah, I saw a bit. I went to the rave on Thursday night. I caught like the last 15-20 minutes of this guy's set, DJ Norfair. It was pretty good. I liked it. If I was more in the mood, I would have danced more, but, I got some video of that, so check that out if you haven't seen it already. But man, I've spent a lot of time so far. I wanted to keep this below 10 minutes. Ooh, geez, I'm gonna cut it close. So yeah, let's continue with this guy's tweet. I don't know where it's coming from, this guy's response, but he says, Black crime statistics, what's your next out of context talking point? You're gonna mention Chicago? So what he's getting at is trying to smear people that try to dispute their false claims by bringing up the factual evidence of, crime statistics and, showing them, what the crime statistics are for blacks in America and how disproportionately out of control it is for what percentage of the population they comprise. When your entire ethnic group only comprises 13% of the entire population of a country, yet commits over 50% of the crimes, that's not racist profiling, that's a cultural issue, And obviously there is a large cultural divide between, many communities, especially the, thug gangster culture that, stems from the black community, unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, everyone can be gangsters, and every country has gangsters. The Italians, the Sicilian mafia, in Japan, the Yakuza, so I'm not racist or bigoted. I don't believe that only black people are in gangs. What do you call the Latin kings and stuff like that? Like, they're Mexican gangs. Everyone has gangs and problems. But here in America, where we all have the same rights under the law, for some reason, black people are disproportionately committing crime in greater numbers than any other people group. So that's just how it is. And, what, you going to mention Chicago? Maybe people should pay attention to Chicago because then they would have a more correct view on reality, because in Chicago, a majority of blacks are killed by other blacks, usually in intra-gang wars and things like that. You know, there are areas like Cicero and Garfield. You just don't want to be there after a certain time of night because you just might get shot randomly because they shoot across the street at each other, you know, without even aiming or looking. They don't care. It's ridiculous. I know people that used to be gangbangers, you know, way long ago. You know, I didn't know them when they were, but, you know, I've been told their history, and that's exactly what they said they did. And even white people, I know one white guy that was in a gang in Chicago, and he said that, you know, he would drive around and they'd, you know, pop off shots as they're driving as an intimidation thing. So the gang culture is absolutely out of control, and that is a large part of why black crime is so disproportionately high when you look at the statistics. And just as an aside, the whole argument that, oh, black people and white people smoke marijuana at the same rate, yet black people are punished more for it, therefore racial profiling. No, that's not true. The fact that black and white people smoke marijuana at the same rate, statistically, percentage-wise, that is true. So you have to ask yourself, why are more black people getting arrested for marijuana than white people? Is it maybe because in the black community, once again, there are cultural things like this game called the Loud Challenge, where the whole point is to go into a public place like a Walmart or something like that, and then smoke a blunt, smoke a marijuana blunt in plain view in sight and smell everyone and try not to get caught. So it's like, I think things like that are why they go to jail and are convicted more frequently for those types of things than, any other ethnic group in this country. So if people would pay attention to reality, they wouldn't have their minds so warped. But continuing back with the Slayton comment, he goes on to say that listing hate crime stats is pretty irrelevant too. That has nothing to do with the actual oppression, which is generally ran by the state. And he's absolutely right by that. The most oppression that any person faces in this country comes from the state government, the federal government, the local government, the municipal governments, because they're the ones that set the laws that are half of the time unconstitutional and violate our rights. Just recently here in December, 2018, James O'Keefe of Project Veritas had a lawsuit filed some time ago against the state of Maryland, I believe, and they won the lawsuit because it was illegal in that state for people to secretly record government officials. So, that's a basic rights violation of the First Amendment, and that's what the Supreme Court ruled. So that's a win for freedom. And now in other states, such as where I live here in Illinois, we can get the eavesdropping law taken off the books because that is unconstitutional, as proven by the precedent set by the case that was ruled in that James O'Keefe filed. So it's fantastic that there are people out there that are fighting for our freedoms, legitimately fighting for our freedoms, not this fake notion that, oh, soldiers sent off to Iraq are fighting for our freedom. That's not true. They're engaging in geopolitical wars for bankers and corporations to gain more power and leverage in other countries. They are not fighting for our freedom. That doesn't even make sense. When it's the lawmakers in our country that pass laws that restrict our rights and our liberties, how are soldiers shooting guns at other people in another country fighting for our freedom? That's ludicrous, So, all right, let's move on. The main oppression comes from the state. That is true. He says, if I get shot and killed by a black criminal, how is that any less oppressive than someone being killed in a hate crime? Dead is dead. And that's pretty true. And actually, there were 2 hate crimes towards the end of this, the last quarter of the year in Chicago, where a black male suspect was, alleged to have killed 2 people. A Jewish man that was a young guy, he was like 24, shot point blank in the head. And then there was a elder white man who was walking his dog in the same area, in Rogers Park in Chicago, and he was shot in the head, execution style too, So hate crimes go both ways, and if you look into the reality of all of these alleged hate crimes, where people claim, oh, people wrote the N-word on my car, and these people drew swastikas and said anti-Semitic things on my synagogue, they're fake, they're hoaxes, and the people that did that were caught. There was a gay black dude that got caught writing the N-word on his own property. So fake hoax hate crime. There was a Jewish white guy that got caught painting swastikas and, anti-Semitic slurs on his synagogue. So once again, they fake hate crimes all of the time because that's what these people do. They just lie and lie and lie because the truth is their enemy. So, all right, let's continue with this tweet. The next thing that Tis the Season says, all black people are criminals, and discrimination, oppression, and hate are fine as long as it's not explicitly prohibited by law. Those are the words that he's putting in Slayton's mouth. Nice argument. I can't imagine how anyone would think you have a negative agenda here. So first off, once again, like I said, these people always lie. This guy, Slayton, never said all black people are criminals. So it's like, dude, stop making things up and putting words in people's mouth and misrepresenting what they say, because you're wrong. And he never even alleged that discrimination and oppression and hatred are fine as long as it's not prohibited by law. It's like these people just say things to make you look like the biggest monster villain that they possibly can, and it's just obscene. It's obscene. That's basically slander. It's not directly, but it's pretty close to libel. Libel slander. I think slander is spoken, libel is written, so yeah, that'd be very libelous. And of course, Slayton responds, yeah, I never said all black people are criminals. Most black people, same as any people, are good folks. All I'm saying is that hate crime is the act of warped individuals, not some overreaching oppression narrative perpetrated by those in power. And people saying mean things on the internet isn't oppression either. If your oppression can be solved by not looking at your phone, you aren't oppressed. So yeah, whenever these people are like, oh man, it's just I'm such a victim online, it's like, dude, ignore the people. Are you joking me? People say mean things to you online. Ignore it. Holy garbage, sticks and stones, man. Like, get over it. Grow a pair. And oh geez, whoops, I just offended the feminists. Oh, grow a pair. You can't say that. Stop using heteronormative, male patriarchy dominated insults. Blah 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 blah. Shut up, you crazies. All right, so next tweet. We got 13 of these folks. We're hitting it up hard today. This is going to be like a 25-minute video, maybe even 30 minutes. I don't care. We're going to take many minutes, as much time as it needs. So the Crucible says, you're cool. I disagree. But personally, I would not have mentioned politics at something like the Game Awards. Just does not seem like the place for it. Otherwise, congrats on the award. I already said this earlier in the video. I don't want to be one of those people that says, oh, this isn't the time or the place. But I mean, when you're doing an acceptance speech for an award about video games, can't you just do that and not bring in other things where it's unnecessary? Especially when those unnecessary things that you're bringing in are not even true? I'm not pushing the light out because it was too close and getting in the shot. I didn't just do that. So, in response, Taldrin says, I say why not? I am sure right-wing gamers hate on him constantly for being furry gay. Oh, you're sure? Do you have any proof, man? Do you have any actual proof? Because I don't care what you think or you're sure of if it's not backed by anything factual. And don't get me started on the racism and growing up as a black teen in America. Well, why not? You think black people are the only people that gotta deal with racism in America? Do you know how racist black people are against white people in many times in circumstances? Like, holy crap. How about growing up as a white teen in a predominantly black school? Those kids generally get the shit kicked out of them, sometimes on a regular basis, because of how racist some of these black people are. So, if you don't think that racism is a two-way street, you're just an idiot, and you need to, pull your head out of the sand, or where else it may be stuck. So he continues, they also could shut their mouths, but they don't. So taking a dump on them on stage must be pretty satisfying. Yeah, dab on the haters, right? Dab on the haters. Hilarious. So Crucible further expounds that he agrees with his statement. He just doesn't agree with where he said it. In his opinion, politics don't have a place in gaming. Well, I don't know why you agree with his statement, because his statement was that all Republicans hate all gays, blacks, and furries, and obviously that's not true. He's just a liar and a bigot for saying that. But politics definitely have a place in gaming. I understand what they're trying to get at in that, you don't need to make a political statement when you're just doing an acceptance speech for something about video games. But video games, in many cases, are inherently political. There are many games with political plots and subtexts. For instance, one of my favorite games from the Sony PlayStation, the original, is a game called Tiny Tank. A fantastic game, fun gameplay, decently challenging, but not too hard. And the whole gist of it is that back in the 90s or whenever they had it set, the U.S. government decided to contract the Centrax Corporation to build autonomous robots to fight the wars of the future so that humans would no longer have to die in wars. And of course, with the positronic brains they give these robots, they become so sentient that they realize, oh my gosh, we are all going to rust and decay and be destroyed. So to avoid all this rust and decay, we should remove the Earth's atmosphere. So for anyone out there that is, into, oh, how's it going to be doom and gloom, what's going to happen when the AI takes over, how are they going to kill us all? Maybe they'll try to remove all of the Earth's atmosphere so that there's no oxygen left to rust and ruin them, I'm open to that possibility, and I think that game was groundbreaking for having such a plot like that. But, you wake up like 500 years into the future as Tiny Tank and this satellite that's shaped like a female body. I'm sure that's offensive towards the feminists. It's like, Tiny Tank, you're the last hope of salvation for the human race. They've been forced underground because the evil Mutank has led all the other robots to remove the Earth's atmosphere, and, now he's in some satellite in space controlling everyone, all his robot minions, so you have to stop him. So it's a pretty fun game, and it's a cool story. So politics, they definitely have a place in gaming. Have you ever heard of Metal Gear Solid? I mean, hello. So Taldrin says, in an ideal world, maybe, but it's usually the right that makes it bad for everybody. Yeah, not true. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so ridiculous. Republicans and Democrats both vote on the same legislation that restricts our rights and restricts our liberties and freedoms. So to say that it's usually the right that makes it bad for everyone, that's just absurd. How is it usually the right that makes it bad for everyone when right now it's the left that's making things absolutely horrible and nightmarish for people in specific geographic locations across the country, like, in California, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, and other places like that, in Portland even, in many places in Philadelphia. It's like Portland, Oregon. How is that like a haven for Antifa? That's, oh my gosh. But it is right now the left, at least, that's making everything horrible for everyone in public, because they're going out and blocking roads, blocking people's cars that are just trying to either go to their job, which most of these people that are doing the protesting don't even have because they're bums. Or they're just trying to go home, to whatever, go home to play a game, go home to their family, go home just so they can be at home and live in their freaking home that they own, So these people have no right to be doing that. They're straight up violating the Fourth Amendment right of their fellow citizens. They're violating the right of freedom to travel securely and freely in their person and personal effects. So what they're doing is just absolutely wrong, and for them to think that they're in the right or that they have the moral high ground, they must be huffing like some kind of ridiculous paint, because, man, they're just... The crap they say, it's like, how high are you? You got so high you turn stupid, How about next time you just take one puff of the joint and you don't get all stupid? And then let's continue with this. GG, for example, and I don't want to know how often Sonic has been called the N-word out of spite by other people, can't blame him for shooting back and using the largest possible stage to do so. Okay, largest possible stage to do so? Yeah, absolutely not. The Game Awards is not the largest possible stage to do that on. And furthermore, okay, what does it matter? He's been called a nigger. I've been called a nigger myself. I've been called a faggot. I've been called a fat loser, piece of shit. I've been called so many names, it's ridiculous. But guess what? I'm not dead. It doesn't hurt me. People say mean things. Who cares? If your self-esteem is dependent on, the negativity that other people, throw towards you, you're going to have very low self-esteem and live a very miserable life. So people think I'm an idiot or whatever the case. I don't care. I don't need to listen to their opinions. Good for them. And then he says, oh, it's nothing new. Media events like the Oscars are also used to drop political statements if the need arises. And oh boy, was there a need for that in the last couple of years. Yeah, obviously a Trump hater. Obviously, this guy stood up and gave a standing ovation when Robert De Niro said, fuck Trump. I'm Robert De Niro. Fuck Trump.
I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump.
Thanks for the Ta statue. Just real fast, because you mentioned the Oscars. If you don't know, the Oscar statue is just a remake of the Egyptian pagan statue of the god, the false god Ta, spelled Ptah. He was their creator god. So the Oscars is just a continuation of ancient paganism. If you don't know this, just look it up and look into it. The statues are identical, so it's not some conspiracy thing. It's the truth. So this other guy, Connor Osterman here says, I literally didn't even know who he was, and I'm a Republican, and I also game. I have no hate towards him, and if I did play with him, I would have treated him as a player. But for him to just say all Republicans hate gays, furries, and blacks is an insult to me and half of all gamers. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, so let's move on to the next one. Oh, this guy, that there Egypt cat, he's using the carrot meme format, where like you use short little sentences, 2 or 3 words, to describe a situation. So he's describing what happened to him in real life. So let's see what happened to him in real life. In Reno, sits down. Hey man, mind if I get a couple of rounds with you? Plays. He picks Zangief versus Sonicfox's Karen. He loses. No shock. He shakes hand and leaves. Later, he's in San Jose, and apparently so is Sonicfox, and he asks for a selfie. So he says, at what point in our interaction did I ever oppress you? #FurryRepublican. Yeah, very good question and very good point. If this guy, Sonicfox, is going to claim, oh, y'all oppressing me, how is this guy oppressing you? Like, he hasn't done anything towards you, so it's just ridiculous. But of course, the brainwashed fools come in and say, oh, you oppressed him when you voted Republican. Your vote alone, because Republicans are constantly trying to take rights away from people, and only Republicans are doing that. Even though I can't even cite a single example of that, it's like, man, can you guys even cite a single example to support the ridiculously false claims that you're making? I doubt it. I highly and sincerely doubt it. Moving on. Those poor guys who rant about you saying everything Republicans hate. I don't think they've ever had to work hard for anything. Keep going and don't look back. Oh wow, another ridiculous generalization, spitting right in the face of everyone like me and people not like me, everyone that actually does work hard for anything. You think I don't work hard for anything? You're a fool. You think that other people don't work hard for anything? You're a fool. I worked hard at my jobs, I work hard to make good content here. Doesn't always pan out perfect, but I'm trying, so it's like, for you to say that these people, don't work hard, it's like, first off, who, and how do you know that? You're just full of crap, man. Lazy Iguana, you're just full of crap. I'm going to keep going and not look back at your comments. Oh, that was clever. What a quip. I really quipped him. That's the new meme, guys. Whenever you get a riff a little quip at someone real fast and you zing them, you go quip, and you crack that quip. Make it a meme. All right, so XLVII. What number is that? Is that 67? I forgot what XL is. My Roman numerals. I need to work on them a little bit. Either way. Or maybe it's 100. I'll look it up later. You guys look it up and tell me in the comments. What's Roman numeral? What are the Roman numerals XLVII? I know that VII is 7. I just forget what L and X are. So it's frankly why the marginalized have and most likely will always dominate in the American FGC. Y'all have known true struggle. The absurdity in this comment and how little sense it makes. I'm like, where do we begin? Y'all have known true struggle. Have they? Have they known true struggle? First off, how do you know that without actually knowing the personal stories? And do you actually consider being raised by a family that provides for you, going to public schools, having all the same rights as everyone else, and being able to make thousands of dollars playing video games is a struggle? And furthermore, how does having dealt with, struggles in your life have anything to do with your skills and abilities in fighting games? That doesn't make any sense. And, for him to say, have and most likely will always dominate the American fighting game scene, it's like, what? Once again, examples, man, facts. Riff a list of names, that shows that it's all, quote, marginalized people that are dominating in this arena. I doubt you can do that because I doubt that it's true. And furthermore, how are they marginalized? If you can adequately explain to me exactly how specific groups are marginalized, then I will believe you where there is evidence to support that, where it's logical and true. But if you're not telling the truth, then just get the crap out of here. I don't care what you have to say because it's not even true. Next tweet. We're close, guys. We only got 5 more after this. All right. Bear with me. Bear with your paws. All right, so Riley Torrens says, "You are not, nor have you ever been oppressed. You're simply annoying. While I admire and respect your awesome achievements and how you motivate others like you, I'm ashamed at how you behave and carry yourself and the image you shape in the public eye." And I agree with that wholeheartedly because he's put out other tweets, saying, "All you haters can suck my fucking dick." So it's like, man, yeah, dude, you are annoying and you are rude, and when you say all you haters, and then you also say all Republicans hate, everything that you are, you're basically telling every Republican to suck your dick. So, and I would say, oh, I bet you like that, but I bet you would like that from the men because you're gay. You're super gay. So I bet you'd really love that. So Nix responds asking, how exactly do you know that he's never been oppressed? Well, okay, you kind of got him. We don't know that he's never been oppressed, but I do know that he hasn't been greatly oppressed in a manner that has affected his life to the point where he can't live it the way that he wants to. Obviously, he can be gay, and he is gay. Obviously, he can be black, and he is black. Like, holy crap, no one's stopping him from doing things because he's black. And then, the fact that he's a furry, that's not getting in his way of anything either. So, like, if he is being oppressed, I want to know exactly how, because on those 3 fronts, he is not, and I'm not buying it. He's just lying. He's full of crap. He's trying to just play the victim card. It's just so easy for some people to play the victim card. It's insane. So here's a good one. Zach Finn asks, did people actually get mad about your speech? Yeah, dude, because he's a bigot, and he called all Republicans racists and bigots. People get upset when people lie about them in such a fantastical manner. So, to answer your question, no duh. No duh people got mad, dude. Like, sometimes it's like, dude, think about what you're saying before you post it, and then realize how there's absolutely no reason to say what you want to say because the answer is so obvious. Like, why are you even posting that? I don't get it. Did you just want us to all know how inept you are with your thoughts? Like, okay. So autism stick, that's funny. Not that autism is funny, but, whatever. He says, how have I oppressed you my entire life? I've never even heard of you. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. But once again, here comes a different person spouting the same rhetoric that they've been indoctrinated with, like the other fool that was indoctrinated with the same bullcrap. You oppress him and all LGBT plus people by voting for Republican lawmakers who campaign to take away LGBT plus people's rights. All right, cow presenting nipples, show me the Republican lawmakers that are campaigning to take away the rights and show me exactly how they're campaigning to do so. If you don't have examples, then you're just lying and you're full of shit, and I don't believe you, and I'm not going to listen to you. And just as an aside, once again, I really like my sides, my asides. You can't have a good meal without good sides. So, the term LGBT+, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. So, bisexual, doesn't that imply that there are only 2 forms of sexes, male and female, because bis are interested sexually in both males and females? So I don't see how the term LGBT even, works when, these people that use the LGBT plus AQAIOP, whatever it keeps on getting more ridiculous. I seriously think it's like LGBTQAIOP. And you could make an acronym 30 letters long with all these ridiculous, sexualities that they're trying to invent. Oh, pansexual. It's like, what the heck is pansexual? Pansexual is their answer to bisexual because, well, we don't believe that it's just a gender binary anymore, like bisexual, binary. So let's say pansexual. I pan across the whole spectrum. Ooh, throw whatever eggs into my pan. I don't care. Eggs or huevos, what? Jeez. So yeah, that's just ridiculous. But unless you can provide me examples of specific Republican lawmakers and the exact ways in which they're campaigning against these people, it's not true and you're just a liar. Next tweet. Pro gamers. I'm so oppressed playing video games. The rest of the world. Yes, gamers are truly the most oppressed minority of them all. Obviously a bit facetious there, some sarcasm. Because, yeah, you're not oppressed playing video games, and gamers are not oppressed. But gamers are starting to become oppressed by fascists that are acting under the guise of social justice. These social justice warriors. The very same people that say that you shouldn't have any animosity towards sex workers, and that, it's a good thing that they're sex workers. It's perfectly okay and fine for women to have men pay them for sex. They should be legally allowed to do that. Women should be able to dress as slutty as they want, and that can be completely fine. The very same people that say those things want to censor games like Dead or Alive Extreme 3 because, oh, you're turning women into objects. You're objectifying women. So in their minds, women aren't objectifying themselves by doing jobs where the only thing they do is dance on stage naked so that men can get boners to them. That's not them, objectifying themselves, but video games that are made about, sexy ladies that are scantily clad playing volleyball and, doing other mini games, whatever they are that I've seen in the game, and, relaxing on the beach. That's just objectification and bigoted. You as the player of the game Dead or Alive Extreme 3, having to please all the girls by giving them nice clothing that they like, good food, interacting with them, forming a genuine relation. Although that's just objectifying them. Stupids. They're so ridiculous. I don't even think that they think about the words that come out of their mouths before they say them. They just regurgitate what they've been trained to repeat from their propagandists and indoctrination centers. Their echo chambers where they hang out with people that only think the exact same way they do. You see, you can't do that. That's how you get extreme bias and prejudice formed. In some cases and circumstances, there's nothing wrong with bias and there's nothing wrong with prejudice. Our society is based on prejudice. We're prejudiced against so many things. That's why we have laws, So prejudice isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes you have to be prejudiced. Like, I am prejudiced against violence. If a person is violent, then I don't want them around, So there's prejudice, but it's not bad. So anyways, this person adds to it in the next part of the tweet. Y'all oppressed me so hard, I excelled in my sport regardless of my skin color, sexuality, or hobby choice. Yeah, and that's, extremely true. So Mr. Bisonopoulos responds, oof, this is some smooth brain logic here. I believe he's referring to what Krieg just said, and it's like, if you actually believe that, dude, you're a fool. Because, what Krieg said is true. He's not oppressed because, he excelled in his sport, and his skin color and his sexuality and his hobby choice did not get in his way in any form whatsoever. So he is not being oppressed for being black. He's not being oppressed for being gay, and he's not being oppressed for being a furry. So for this Bisonopoulos guy to say that that's some smooth brain logic, yeah, nice meme, loser, but you're full of crap and you're wrong. These people that think they're so clever with these ridiculous, tired out, beat to death memes. Oh, smooth brain. Because we know that scientifically people that have, more creases and folds in their brain are generally more intelligent because, that's how your brain forms when you learn new information. There are certain creases and crinkles that actually form where you can tell when you actually look at people's brains what they may have done in their life. There's a specific, crease and crinkle that forms for violin players. It's pretty cool how the brain works like that. So yeah, nice meme, but I got a nice meme for you. All right, next tweet. We got just a couple more, guys. Just a couple more. Hang in for the ride. You can watch a 40-minute long video of me talking about 13 tweets. Do the math and tell me in the comments how long on average I spent per tweet. So, Comics Villain has this to say. Y'all, bitch, please. I don't even know you. Fucking generalizing like you know anything about anyone, or yourself for that matter. People are incredibly complex. I just see ego, a guy bragging, playing the victim card, and a huge lack of life experience. And I agree entirely. all I saw there was ego. It wasn't very humble. It was slightly humble, but wow. And he was bragging about, him being gay and black and furry. It's like, I don't know why you're bragging about that stuff. It's, it'll be like me bragging about, oh, I'm white, I'm Christian, and something else, pretty much everything that leftists hate. It's like, there's no need for that, Clearly, you can see that I'm white, If you know me, you know that I'm Christian. So it's like, this is just ridiculous. These people that feel the need to announce everything about themselves because they think just for some reason it's just so important. It's really not, dude. It's really not. I could honestly care less that you're gay. I don't have to agree with it personally. And, this isn't just what I think. Factually, it's not normal, because if it were the normal sexuality, then a majority of people would be gay. But normal sexuality is heterosexual. Men having sex with women as was designed in our biology. There's a reason why men have a penis and women have a vagina. You're not supposed to stick things in people's buttholes. It's an exit way, not an entrance point. Your muscles push out fecal matter. You're not supposed to push things into your anus. You depraved, immoral reprobates. It's disgusting. Stop sticking things up your butts. So, playing the victim card, yeah. Playing the victim card every single day, man. If these people sold decks of cards, it'll be just a stack full of victim cards. Anytime anyone says anything, oh, it's because I'm black. Oh, it's because I'm gay. Oh, it's because I'm a furry. Oh, it's because I think this. It's always just whenever they're confronted with something that they can't handle through a logical argument or reason, they just play a victim card. These people are they're gamers more than you know. Alrighty, so next tweet here. Hey man, I'm what you would call a Republican right-winger, and I think to put us all in a bubble and say we all hate people like you is insulting in and of itself. The fact is, I'm a Christian, and while I may not agree with everything you like, it's what makes us all humans and different. So yeah, basically what I said. I'm Christian and don't agree with what you like or do, but I don't care. I'm not going to do anything about it, so like, what's your problem, man? Like, jeez. But of course, this guy is strong to your Faust. He comes at him with the same talking point that the other two people had, because once again, these people have all been indoctrinated and brainwashed by propagandists that are filling their minds with toxic lies, and they all think the same exact thing. So let's read his response. It doesn't matter what you personally believe. I mean, it actually does, but okay. You lend support to a party that regularly seeks to take rights away from marginalized people like Sonicfox. So, once again, another person saying, oh, you vote Republican, so you hate gays and furries and trans people and blacks and everyone else that we think that Republicans hate. So, just because you voted for Republican, you're evil. Blah, 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 blah. Retarded. Y'all been getting away with supporting people to their face and stabbing them in the back in the voting booth too long. Once again, y'all. All these nebulous groups of people lumped together, even though all these groups are comprised of individuals with very different opinions on many issues. I don't believe personally that all leftists think the exact same thing. Many of them do think the exact same thing, but that's a certain percentage of the overall group of people that are on, quote, the left, that includes, Democrats, socialists, Marxists, communists, some liberals, and, what you would just call leftists. Libertarians are generally more right-leaning, not necessarily Republican. Some of them are Republican, but generally libertarians are more towards the Constitution. And then you have constitutionalists, so the right and the left, they're different, but in the right and in the left, they're not all comprised of people that think the exact same ways. There's a multitude of groups and different ideologies within both the left and the right. And furthermore, Democrat versus Republican, left versus right, red versus blue, it's just a paradigm, a false paradigm, purposely engineered to divide and conquer people. We need to stop falling for this ruse of, oh, only Republicans, only Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Look at the voting records in Congress. Look at the voting records in the House and the Senate. All this bad crap that oppresses us gets passed by both parties. After 9/11 happened, inside job, and they passed the Patriot Act. That wasn't just passed by Republicans. That wasn't just passed by Democrats. It was passed by Republicans and Democrats. Both sides, worked together to pass legislation that takes away our rights and restricts our freedoms and gives government more power. So they're all guilty. Don't fall for their tricks. It's really sad and disheartening seeing so many people caught up in this nonsense where it's like, hey, we need to all be coming together regardless of whether we're right or left in support of our basic constitutional rights, in support of our basic human freedom and sovereignty over our own bodies. For the government to even have the audacity to think that they can make legislation that, utilizes force to prevent people from consuming, natural plants that exist on this planet before their government even existed is patently absurd and beyond offensive and violating people's, basic human rights. People have the right to drink alcohol. The government does not have the right to ban them from that. People have the right to smoke marijuana. The government does not have the right to ban them from that. People have the right to do any drugs they want to. The government has absolutely no right telling people what they can or cannot put in their bodies. They do not own you. You are a sovereign human being with control over your own body. And that being said, just real fast, another aside on the abortion issue. No, it's not your body and it's not your choice. That organism developing inside of you is a human being. Even when it's just a zygote, it is a forming human being. When the sperm and the egg merge, that is the beginning of the conception of a human being. So life starts at conception. Get that straight. It's not your body. It's not your choice. It's murder, and you're murdering your own kids. I can't even talk about it without getting mad. Like, did you hear my voice just change? Like, it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. I can't even stand talking about it. I gotta get off the subject now because this isn't about that in this video. Like, oh my gosh, it actually makes me physically upset that people are so evil that they murder their own children. Oh my gosh. I'm not faking this. Like, it's horrible. I can't stand thinking about it. How depraved a person can be to murder their own child. Oh. All right. Moving on. Dude, both parties play the American people. Don't get it twisted, LOL. Just because I'm a conservative doesn't mean I vote Republican. Either, again, check facts and stop relying on social media for politics. Yeah, like I said just a second ago, not all conservatives are Republicans. Some conservatives actually are Democrats. There are conservative Democrats. There are conservative leftists. So people need to stop assigning specifics to just one side of the equation. But of course, the Poke Cool 37 here memes it up. Once again, it's these people that must be lower IQ. It's like all they know is memes. They can't think for themselves or make an original statement. It's like, geez, dude, can you just like tell us your own thoughts without them having been influenced by some other person copying what other people have said as a well-established meme? Both parties are equal. I can't stand the argument or the ma-eme, like the ma feels, my rights. It's like, fuck you and your basic low-level shit-tier meme mockery that means nothing. So, first off, both parties are equal. He didn't say both parties are equal. He said both parties play the American people. Get it straight and stop twisting people's words and alleging that they mean something that they don't. Saying that both parties play the American people is not saying that they're both equal. One side could play the American people more than the other side does. And I don't believe that's true, though. I actually do think that both parties play the American people just as equally because, once again, they both vote for the same legislation that takes away our rights and our freedoms and our liberties, like the Patriot Act. So, yeah, in regards of oppressing us all, both parties kind of are equal, but, not entirely because on the other side of things, Republicans are way more for gun rights than Democrats are, but even Republicans are dumb with gun rights because they still want unconstitutional nonsense such as background checks, waiting periods, restrictions on ammunition magazine capacity sizes, restrictions on what length you may have on the barrel for your shotgun. It has to be, so long. Like, you see this thing here? your barrel has to be such a length. If you want a barrel that stops right here, and it's only that long, oh, you can't have that shotgun because it's a sawed-off shotgun, and we said that that's illegal. You can't do that. Blah 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 blah. We're fascists. Even though you have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, we're not gonna let you have that. Ha ha. Bunch of bullshit. So yes, both parties are just as guilty of being stupid and using the force of government violence to oppress us all, because that's what laws are. They are force. You can't enforce laws if you don't have any force to enforce them with. That's why the word enforce is spelled that way and contains the word force. So if you just say, oh, it's illegal to, not stop at a stop sign, but you don't enforce it, then the law doesn't even matter because you're not enforcing it. So, the only way that these laws are enforced are through physical force. It is wrong to use physical force against people to violate their basic human rights. We all have the right to life. Thus, we all have the right to act in defense of our lives. Thus, we all have the right to use tools of defense for ourselves and, in some cases, for the defense of others. So, that's how that goes. And let's continue with what he says. Also, people are going to assume you vote Republican if you say you're conservative, seeing as they are used synonymously by most people. Well, and he's right, actually. Most people are going to assume, but that's the thing. They're assuming. People need to stop assuming things. The classic phrase, whenever you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Make an ass out of you and me, Because assume has the word ass and then you, me. So, yeah, you're just making an ass out of yourself and everyone else. Stop making assumptions that aren't true. So, to end this exchange, Bill Coombs states that libertarians are conservative too. See, you only go by what you hear. I think instead of fact-checking. And it's not your fault, it's just the world we live in. I mean, actually, it is his fault because he's not thinking critically for himself, People not thinking critically for themselves, they are at fault for that because they could just choose to think critically for themselves and not just automatically believe what other people say or, jump to generalizations and conclusions without enough evidence to support those things. So, it's amazing the ridiculousness you find people putting out on the internet and on these social media sites and stuff, on Facebook and Twitter, and especially Reddit. Oh my goodness, Reddit is the worst. I think that people are even more egregiously wrong on Reddit than they are on YouTube. And people generalize YouTube as being, the shitter of the internet comment sections, the toilet of the internet comment sections. It really isn't. You actually find some really good comments on YouTube, actually. So, actually. Let's move on to the next tweet, actually. So this one actually says, thanks for being you. That's all that matters, man. Keep knocking down the barriers. Respect. Black power. Respect. Yeah. Fist in my air. Fists aren't violence. A fist isn't violent. Whatever. I have a t-shirt that says, peace now, and it has like 3 fists, raised on it, so it's like, you want peace now, but you're raising fists? Okay. Are you the type of people that think that you can only gain peace through the use of force? Oh, jeez. Oh, man. More of these people. So, yeah, knocking down the barriers. What barriers? What barriers were ever in place blocking access to win video game tournaments for gay people or black people or furries? It's not true. You're making things up. You're seeing walls that are invisible, man. What are you, a freaking pantomime clown? You're just, walking down the street, all of a sudden, boom! There's a wall here. I'm pushing so hard. I can't move the wall. It's an invisible barrier. Jeez. Invisible barriers that don't exist. Why can't these people just speak about things that are based in reality? The reality that we all live in. Real life with facts. Not their fake universe of nonsense. And that is all. That is all the comments that I have, and that's all the time that we have today. So, in summation, this guy, Sonicfox, he is a bigot. He's clearly bigoted through his actions and his statements. Going on stage, fix my mustache, claiming falsely that Republicans all hate all the things that he is. Gay, black, and furry. And I honestly hope that that is not his only identity. You know, those are the main parts of his identity. His skin color, his sexuality, and the fact that he wants to be an animal because he has something in his brain that's a little goofy there. You know, I don't care if you put on a fur costume and go to conventions and have fun. You know, like I wear a costume, I go to the anime convention, I have fun. You know, I'm not against that. But if you legitimately like think that you're an animal, or you legitimately want to be an animal to the point where when you put on your fur costume, you actually act like an animal, like, you know, if it's a dog suit or a wolf suit, you actually bark and, like, you know, sometimes walk on all fours and stuff. There's something goofy going on in your head, man. And, you know, and I don't think that's an offensive thing to say. But yeah, he's not oppressed. You know, this overarching oppression that he alleges that's against him is not there. He's just playing the victim card, and it's just pathetic. It's really sad and pathetic. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this issue. Thanks for watching. If you stuck all the way through for the whole dang thing, good on you. I hope you enjoyed this hour-long video. I hope it was worth the ride. I think it was. It didn't even feel like an hour passed. It feels like I've just been sitting here for like 2 minutes. Like, man, it is crazy the way time flies sometimes. I've been looking at the time counter almost the entire time, and that even hasn't had the, you know, psychological effect where it seems like time is crawling. Like, it feels like just 2 seconds ago I was only at the 5-minute mark. Man, how I take my time. But there were 13 tweets. There was a lot to get through, so. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Keep on checking back for more content. We're making this channel be huge. It's going full time. I'm going full time with it. I don't have a job right now. I'm making this my new job, so please do, if you feel inclined, hop on over to my Patreon. Check that out. And, you know, you can donate whatever amount you want to me. That'll help me be able to pay my bills. my very real bills for my car and the bank and other things, you know, medical bills that I owe, things like that. So, yes, if you could toss $1 or $2 my way, it will be so greatly appreciated. And we do have some, I do have some cool rewards on the Patreon page set up right now. Well, I'll make more, and we're gonna get more into merch. We're gonna make some Black Tiger T-shirts if you want some of those, you know, so you guys can rock that stuff, you know, for all your friends to see. We'll make it a cool Black Tiger logo. And we got some other shirts in the shirt store. I have some offensive shirt designs, so if you want to walk around and completely offend people in a hilarious manner, I got some shirts for you that way too. So, yeah, if you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. And please also leave me a comment telling me why you did not like it. If you hate me, or, you know, you think I'm a bag of shit, or whatever you want to say, go ahead and let it out. I'll read your comments. I like reading comments, so... yeah, subscribe if you enjoy the content and you're not already a subscriber. Please do. We're going to have content, hopefully every day here, or as frequently as I can. And, like, share, subscribe, donate to the Patreon. Like, share, subscribe, donate to the Patreon. Do all those things. I'm just repeating myself at this point in time because I'm trying to run it to a full hour, so. Yes, Black Tiger's back in action. And we ain't backing off or backing down. The claws are out, and we're ready to pounce. Even though I believe it's the female lions that actually go out on the hunt and capture the prey in the Lion Kingdom, but whatever, I'm not an animal. I'm not a lion. I'm not a tiger, and yeah, those are lions, not tigers, so. Alright guys, this has been another presentation. Objet d'art, grandeur, par excellence, Black Tiger. Check you next time. Vape out. I'm flossing. Flossing, my chain flossing. This is what all cool kids do now, right? enough of that.